I'm Dr. Margaret Contra-Sutton of Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics. Did you know that skin cancer is the most prevalent of all cancers and that over 1 million Americans will develop skin cancer every year? Develop a regular routine to inspect your body for any skin changes. If any growth, mole, sore, or skin discoloration appears suddenly or changes, please call Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics to schedule a skin check.
This is Inspired Interviews, and I am your host, Katie Kinsella-Boles. This podcast is sponsored by Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics. Today, we have LaCresha Brooks with us. LaCresha is the development specialist at Habitat for Humanity of Lincoln and project lead for the Women Build fundraising and volunteer campaign. LaCresha came to Habitat with years of experience in fundraising, events, and client relations. She is inspired by the 5 generations of powerful women in her family and wants to continue their legacy of making the world a better place. LaCresha, I'm so excited you're here today.
Oh, thanks for having me, Katie. I appreciate the invite.
It's nice to meet you in real life.
Yes.
I've emailed with you for over a year.
Yes.
I've been able to see your voice through emails.
That's great. It's important to see my voice and my smile through an email. So
yes. Well, I remember actually the first one, and we'll get to this, but there's another woman here named Mary Wexelman who did Women Build.
Yes.
And I remember we would get your emails and I'd run over to her desk and be like, who is this girl? She seems like she's so much fun. So I love your bio because it says who you are and what you want to do, who you want to be. And
yes.
When I read it, I thought, okay, so continuing a legacy of making the world a better place. And I was like, who taught you about that? Who taught you about making the world a better place?
Well, I think it's just more of the person that I am and where I came from. I have 5 generations of women in my family. And everyone has their own path that they have created to make the world a better place. And I just think of being taught to be kind and manners and not looking down on someone. If someone's down, if you can help them, then that's what you do. So I have been instilled with that from my parents and my grandparents. And I'm instilling that in my grandchildren. And I've instilled that in my grandkids. So I think that's just the way of life, to do what you can for others.
Yes. And it's so, like making the world a better place is not like curing something or doing something that's going to end up in a history book. Like it is being kind.
It's just being kind. And those would be words from me. The smile you send out returns to you. And I've heard that before. And I believe in that. If you're just kind to someone, if someone's walking around and has a sad face, or you just never know what people are going through. And so as a human being, that is our job, to make someone smile or make someone feel better.
Yeah, I think I think the older I get, the more I realize that if somebody's not smiling, if somebody is angry or upset, it probably has nothing to do with you. And meeting them with that doesn't do anything for anyone.
Right.
Right. And if they don't smile back, it's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
You did your part.
You did your part. You can be the smiler.
Right.
You can just
and
be
it's
that
free.
person.
You can just send a smile. It's free.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I have no other, I'm into that. I don't have any other option. I can't bring myself to not help someone around me feel welcome. So I love that.
Yes.
About you. So Josh Hanshaw, who's Habitat for Humanity's CEO, says that everyone who meets you loves you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yes. And I think, it's special that he said it because, I think highly of his opinion too.
Oh, nice.
But I think it's so true about you. Like, I love you. And I met you through emails. I'm like, this girl is so cool. And there's another coworker I had who was in her early 20s. And I was telling her something about my kids. And she's like, oh, you're such a hype girl or such a hype woman. And I'm like, I was a little taken aback. I was like, what does that mean? And I like went back to my computer and I had to Google it because like this terminology to me in the 90s meant
Right.
something different, like MC Light, right?
Right.
Like, okay. And, but it is someone who, they did say it, they get things turned up and hype everyone up and get everyone feeling good and positive and feeling like they can take on the world and just do better.
Right.
And that is totally you.
Oh, thank you.
It is, yes.
I'm so honored to hear that.
You're a hype woman. Because even through your emails, it shows. And so I was wondering if you've always been this person or if this is someone you've learned to be, or have you always been, were you a hype girl to a hype woman?
Well, I think I've always been like that. One of my strengths is I'm an activator. So when I am doing something that I'm passionate about, I'm going to be extra about it. I mean, and that's how I have to describe it. I'm going to be extra about it, and I want other people to know what my passion is, and I want people to care about that. So it's very important that I'm consistently, talking about what it is, what we're going to do, and just making sure that everybody feels that same vibe and that they're getting excited about things too. So I guess that's where I take my hype womanish too.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone needs that. Like offices need that. They need that person. Sure. Causes need that.
Everybody needs that. Yeah. Everybody. It's like the domino effect. When you do something, if you push that domino, they're all going to line up and they're going to fall down together. So that's how I guess I look at that. If you want something to be successful and you want something to work, then you have to involve, or you should involve other people to get it done and bring people together.
Yeah. Activator. I'll bet you're like a connector. You're just getting everyone.
Activator, maximizer.
Oh yeah, maximizer.
Communication. Mm-hmm. I'm very creative. I try to be very creative. I try to put a twist on things and just blow them up. So
yeah, no, I read something earlier. I was looking at old emails from you because they're so much fun. I had them when I was going to do Woman Build, and something about don't throw shade, and it was like a sunglass giveaway.
The so shades,
funny. Yes. Who has made the most influence in your life? This is hard.
This is a very hard question because I never want to leave anyone out intentionally.
Right.
So there have been a lot of people that influenced me in my life. I mean, me and my mom are very close. So we're very close in age. So a lot of my mom's friends growing up were people that I learned from. Things to do, things not to do, and I look up to them. So for me, I could sit here and say, I look up to Maya Angelou, Oprah, Michelle Obama, but I like to look at it more real people that I know that have been in my life. Now, I do go back into their quotes,
right.
If I'm having a day like that.
Yeah.
But if I need advice or if I just remember something that they've taught me, it would be them, my grandmother, my mom. My daughters inspire me also from some of the things they do. And now I even have a granddaughter that I look at and I'm like, just proud. So there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in the community, like Liz Ring Carlson and Tamara Toof and Deanna Walls. Those women I really look to, and I've only known them a short time. But so there's a lot of people out here. And I'm proud to be where I am today. And I know that I couldn't be where I'm at if I didn't run into these people or if I didn't get advice from these people.
Yeah.
So my role models are just regular people.
Right. Can you tell us your story about starting at Habitat?
Yes. It's like one of my favorite stories now. So I've been at Habitat for, it'll be 2 years in November. And I came from an insurance company, so it was more of the corporate world. And when I started, when I applied at Habitat, it was just for a part-time administrative assistant position. And I was looking to get out of the corporate world just because I feel like I have all this personality and I'm sitting behind this computer. And it's important for me to share my shine in person with people. And so I applied, and maybe about 2 months later, they called and was like, "Hey, are you still interested in this? But it's full time." And I was like, yeah, like now I'm really interested because it's a full-time position. And I just feel like I really wanted to get my foot in the door of a nonprofit because I knew that's where I was supposed to be. A lot of times we don't know where we're supposed to be or what we're supposed to be doing in life. And I feel like that was what I needed to do. I needed to do something to help people. So, the day of the interview, I got up and I was going to actually call and be like, I'm not interested. And I don't know where this came from, but I feel like I wasn't giving it my all. But I went, and I had another position lined up somewhere else. They were going to call me. And so it was between those two. And I went with Habitat. And I'm very grateful that I did. I've been happy since.
It's a great team over there.
It's a great team.
And I'm sure it's a lot of courage to do something completely different.
Yes.
It is like you can say, "Oh, I want this, I want this." The day comes and you're like, "I'm going into something that I have no experience with, even if I know I'm meant for it."
Right. And I went in as the administrative assistant. So
let's talk about this. Okay, because I feel a deep connection to anyone who worked as an administrative assistant. So I think people don't really, jobs can take you somewhere.
Right.
I think, didn't you started as an administrative assistant and then did you show interest, or how did this?
So I started as the administrative assistant, and when you're the administrative assistant, you're pretty much doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so Josh, the CEO, he would send me like emails with this project called Women Build, and I had never heard of it. And so I was just like, all of a sudden, like cheesing ear to ear, like, oh my gosh, these women are doing this. And I was so excited about it. And so I started researching it with other habitats. And he would just tell me, like, well, we'll do this, but he just wanted me to have this information. So I'm just getting all this information. I'm making plans, in my spare time of what I'm going to do. And I don't even have a go on this.
Right.
And so then he asked if I was going to go to conference. Well, when I went to the conference, I didn't sign up for any administrative assistant classes. I took all the Women Build classes, like all the development classes. And I didn't even have that position then. But I was preparing myself because, I knew something was coming. I just didn't know when, but I knew there was room for advancement there. And so when I came back, I just had all this information. And I think it may have been a month later, he sends me an email and he's like, "Hey, I need to see you in my office." And I sent an email back and I said, "Am I in trouble?"
Right.
Like, what's going on here? And so when I sent the email back, we met in his office and he said he wanted to promote me to development specialist. And he said, "You can sleep on it." And immediately I was like, I don't need to sleep on it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I've been doing that ever since. And I've taken Women Build to a whole nother level.
For those of you who don't know, being an admin assistant, it's a lot of people work that kind of job their whole careers, or being an executive assistant. So the fact that he saw that and that you showed an interest,
Right.
People can shift, but
Absolutely.
It doesn't happen that often. So I think it's so cool.
And it was 6 months after I started.
Yes.
So it was like a blessing. And I was really proud.
Yes.
That someone could see me, through my other talents. So that was great.
Yeah. You were bound for something different.
Yes.
So I think people might not know everything that Habitat for Humanity does, or all the different arms, I guess. So could you just tell us about some things going on in Lincoln with Habitat that you think maybe folks just don't know about?
Well, so I know a lot of people, when they think of Habitat for Humanity, they just think that we're giving away houses. So first, I just want to clear that up. We don't give away any houses. It's a hand up and not a handout. So we do help people, but they do have to qualify. And it's a 0 to low interest mortgage with Habitat. So we also have a repairs program a lot of people don't know about. And that's a 0 interest program. So if your air conditioning is out and you need help, if you qualify for those guidelines, we'll fix your air conditioner and then you just have to pay us back. But it's a 0 interest free. A lot of people just don't have the money to fork out and say, hey, I need a new roof or I need a new HVAC.
Yeah.
So we do that. We do a lot of different fundraisers. We actually just had our first family reunion. So 35 years of Habitat. That's how long we've been here in Lincoln. We had all the homeowners come.
Oh, cool.
And just to celebrate them. So that was the first one this past weekend. We have our Women Build, of course. And that's my biggest fundraiser. That's our biggest fundraiser. We do a lot with the community, the Community Builders Breakfast, just celebrating construction and different businesses. So we like to honor the people in Lincoln who do that and who assist us with that. There's a lot of things going on with Habitat.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics. There's one more thing that Habitat has in Lincoln that I just learned about recently, and you showed me a picture of your porch because it's courtesy of, and that is Restore.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about Restore.
So the Restore is a store where people donate products that they no longer want. So if you are getting new windows, then you can bring your old windows to the Restore. Or if you're getting new furniture, you can bring your old furniture, and they also do pickups. There's like a lot of building materials, home decor. And so, yeah, I was inspired when I went out there because I seen all this fall stuff for my porch. And I just started grabbing it. And then I went back the next day and grabbed some more. And it's like a new porch for me. But that money from the Restore, when people purchase, it goes to building homes in our community for Habitat.
See, that's something to think about. Like, I would rather, it would be like so much fun to wander around a place like that. I could get into some real trouble.
Oh, yes, it's great. I have a date actually tomorrow with a couple friends to go to the Restore because I haven't been there.
That's awesome. And is that over on 56th?
That is.
Okay.
56th and Highway 2.
Okay.
So it's a great place. It's a great place to support. The pricing, we do have purchase products. So we have new refrigerators. They're like scratch and dent, but you can get them for a less than expensive price.
Ooh.
So
that's something to think about.
Yes.
And also, like, I have, when you get brand new things.
Yes.
And then they sit and then you realize that they're the wrong size.
Right.
And then you can't go
go take them back.
No.
It's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. And then Restore benefits. So a lot of people have had that and don't think about what it's like to not live in the same home as a child, say, for like years and years. Like for me, we moved around a lot and I would never be able to get in touch with my kindergarten friends. Like I remember some of them, but I don't know if they remember me. And so how does having a stable home affect families?
So I think if you're moved from house to house and that child isn't getting a good night's sleep because they don't know where they're going to live the next day or the next week or the next month, I think that can have an effect on their schooling and how they feel. If they're moving from house to house, it's not a stable environment. And so it can affect when they make friends and then all of a sudden they have to move. So I think it plays a big part into children as well as an adult. You're always, as parents, we worry about our children and we want to make sure that they're in the safest environment possible. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're eligible for a Habitat home, I just always suggest people to apply. And I guess I should say, if you qualify for a Habitat home, I suggest people apply. And
so I try to teach my kids about resources. I guess what I want to instill in them is not to make assumptions about people and where they are. So I say, okay, we moved to a new place. My car breaks down. What are we going to do? They say, oh, we'll get a ride from a friend. I don't have a friend. I'm new. I don't know anyone here. I don't know anyone in my neighborhood. I don't know my neighbors. We're new here. Where am I going to go then? And then we talk about all the different things that, I don't want to say the rabbit hole, but all the different effects that this can have and how easy it is to end up in a very unstable environment. And I want people to maybe think about that a little more, because my kids all the time, they'll say, oh, we got a new kid that started this week. And I'm like, oh man, that's so hard. Remember starting new schools and grade school.
It's definitely hard. And one thing, just to turn it back into a positive, we're in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I always think we have so many resources here. And I always tell my girls, Mom, I want to get out of here. But if you can't make it here, to me, you can't make it anywhere. We have a really strong community. And I feel like if you know someone, we just need to get the word out.
Yeah.
With Habitat next year, with the homeowners program, we need to be going into the schools and asking that teacher and saying, hey, do you have any families that would qualify or would like to apply for a Habitat home? And just word of mouth and getting out there and just being community strong, because it is a strong community.
That gives me chills.
Oh.
I feel that about Lincoln too. I love it here.
Yeah, and I do too.
I've lived here since 2009. I will not move. Well, I say that now. My whole life, as an adult, I've thought, oh, I could live here or there. And I did move around, but I don't want to go anywhere. And I do feel like there's resources.
Now, I do like to visit places.
Yeah, for sure.
But this is home for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm born and raised, but I do like to travel, but I'm here.
Yeah.
So.
And also, I think it's true. It's letting the right people know about the resources.
Yes.
And that you're right, teachers, because we have to be careful how we present that to kids, because they might not even know.
Right.
Kids don't even know.
No.
Oh.
And they shouldn't know. They shouldn't know if they're, if we're having a hard time. We just try to fix it.
Yeah.
We don't want that burden on the children.
Right.
But we just want our kids to be strong.
Yeah.
They're our future. So.
Yes. Okay, last. Let's talk about the pink hard hats. Women Build.
Yes,
your baby.
My favorite.
Your favorite. Okay, LaCresha, let's talk about the pink hard hats.
Yay.
Let's talk about Women Build.
I love Women Build. I love women. I love men too.
Yes.
But I do love when I see women doing their own thing and coming together, because that's what we do, right? As women, as mothers, as grandmothers, a lot of us think we can fix it all and we can make the world a better place. So Women Build is about women empowering women. We come from all aspects of life. Last year we had 50 women. This year we're going to have 100. And that's the number in my head, so that's what we're going to do.
Nice.
And we're going to come together. We're going to fundraise $100,000. We're going to build a home, and we are going to do a neighborhood revitalization project.
Ooh.
And we're going to do so much more. So you don't have to know how to hammer. You don't have to know how to put an insulation. You don't have to know how to do anything. You just want to show up, and we're going to empower each other.
That's so cool. How to say I'm going to do it?
Okay.
How would I? And I know Ava, she's like, I'm doing this.
She is totally
she says
in
that
it.
She's
she
really
said that at Inspire.
Yeah. So how do we get signed up?
So you're going to go to lincolnhabitat.org
mm-hmm.
and click on Women Build, and then scroll down, and there'll be a sign-up sheet. You're going to sign up that way.
And it's a party.
It is.
It's really, there was pictures, or I saw a video at the Inspire Awards about Women Build, and I was like, it was just women smiling, building. Marie Silver was dancing.
Yes.
You guys throw great parties too. So
we're doing parties. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's so worth it. My first experience on a job site with Habitat, I was building a home next to a lady who had 7 children of her own. And she would work a third shift, and she'd get off of work at 7 a.m, and then she'd go build her home.
Oh.
And so it was so powerful just to be next to her, because I'm thinking, she got 7 kids,
Right.
and she's doing this, and this is her home. She's building this for, she's building a legacy for her children, and she's given that generational wealth. And it was just so inspiring. And I'm the last person to want to be hammering stuff in, it's just not my thing, but I needed to do that. And I'm glad I did that. And I'll do it again and again, because it was just a great feeling.
Everyone who I've known who's been involved has absolutely loved it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So ladies, let's consider.
And if you don't want to build, you could do a neighborhood cleanup.
Yeah.
We have that option too. There's a lot of other things we can get you involved in.
Fundraising. Some people, that's their thing.
Yes.
And you can raise money.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, thank you for telling us about that. Okay. Are you ready to get some questions that you couldn't even look at prior to this moment?
Of course.
That are fun?
I'm so ready.
Okay. LaCresha, you're going to a party that you do not want to go to.
Okay.
I don't know if that happens. Does that happen?
Well.
Okay, so pretend like you don't want to go.
Okay.
And you're like, I'm going to listen to music that's going to make me want to go. I'm going to turn it up so loud. What are you going to turn on?
I am going to turn on anything from the 80s and 90s R&B.
Yes. That's what I would do too.
Yes. It's great. The 80s, I feel like I'm almost still stuck in the 80s. Not necessarily with
not
the
your
hair
clothes. Yeah.
But the music, it was so great. Like, it was great. And it still is.
And so I was a child in the 80s and in high school in the 90s. And I do feel like I got to experience the most amazing music.
Absolutely. We got mixtapes.
Oh my gosh. And we get to do cool dances.
Yes.
I guess they still do, but I don't know.
Yeah, not
so
the
much.
Same. I mean, and even in the 90s, we had I guess boy bands.
Yeah.
We had 3 and 4 guys singing to us. And
yes,
it was just great.
My son told me that the Beatles were the best boy band. And I was like, okay, we left out many years here. You know what we got?
What?
In Living Color?
Yes. We got Homie the Clown.
Yeah.
And J-Lo was even on there.
We got J-Lo as a fly girl.
Yes.
I wanted to dress like a fly girl.
Oh,
my mom's
my
like,
goodness.
no.
We got Miss Bonita, who knew everybody's business.
Everybody. Yeah, there's entire generations who missed out on this. Okay.
Yes.
Dogs or cats, and why?
I'm going to say dogs.
Okay. Are you anti-cat?
So, kind of. And I got bit by both when I was younger.
Oh, well.
So
that'll do it to you. Okay, so why do you love dogs more than cats?
I love dogs more than cats because my granddog is a toy poodle, and I just love him. His name's Onyx, and he's perfect. He's perfect.
Oh,
so
that's so sweet. You can love a grand dog the same way you can love a grand.
But it took me a minute. But I'm good with him now.
Yeah. I said something on Facebook once about how I wasn't a big dog lover, and I deactivated Facebook.
You had to.
I broke the thing. Really?
Sure.
I really offended people. Okay, what was your first job?
My first job was McDonald's. I think like a lot of other people. My godfather actually was the manager there. And so it was just easy for me to get a job.
Right on in.
Yes.
I know. McDonald's is a great first job. You're only responsibility, communication, timeliness, hustle. Yeah.
Free meals?
Free meals? Come on. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for being here today.
Thanks so much for inviting me. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I'm glad we could finally do this.
Yes, it was so nice to meet you.
You too.
Thanks.
Today's Inspire podcast is sponsored by 3 incredible women and board-certified dermatologists, Dr. Margaret Contras Sutton, Dr. Lee Sutton, and Dr. Liz Sutton of Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics. Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics physicians and providers are expert leaders in the fields of dermatology, skin cancer surgery, and medical aesthetics. Call 402-484-9009 or visit suttonderm.com to schedule an appointment with Sutton Dermatology and Aesthetics today.